Come back. It's a beautiful day here at Phone Lookout. Thank you. Coming all the way from East Africa, Uganda. Now, you remember this phone from the previous video, and we had promised to replace the screen of this phone. So I'm going to show you how to remove this screen and then how to make sure we place a new screen. So anyway, yesterday we already opened the phone, so we're just going on to the stage of replacing the screen. So anyway, I disconnect the fiber that goes into the screen / touch combination, and this is that. Now this screen, the way of removing is to apply heat on it. So I normally use a heat plate and place this facing down. That heat plate, I have it here set at 110 degrees C. So I'm going to keep it there for about 4 or 5 minutes and then come and cut out the screen. So let's do it. All right, it has overstayed on the thing and has decided to come out, fall by itself while I was lifting it up. So the adhesive used was a little weak, and that saved the day. All right, so we just go to the next step to clean out the surface that's supposed to receive the adhesive so that we may bond this together. So anyway, now we're going here, so we're going to scrape that off like that. Okay, so now we were cleaning before we were interrupted. I was about to say rudely interrupted. I don't know, that's for you to gauge. But we're back, but I don't think you even noticed because I had paused. Okay, now we are scraping off the residue of the glue that the person who had replaced the screen earlier on had placed, so that we get it ready to receive our new screen. Now the idea is usually to make sure that before bonding the two surfaces, make sure it is clean to provide for a perfect bond, seeing that most of the screens lately have a very small surface for bonding, that very tiny ridge at the edges surrounding the screen. And unlike the past where the bezels were a lot bigger and therefore providing more area for glue placement, okay, and for bonding. Okay, so I think I have scraped this enough. I need to make sure I remove much of it. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this is out, and then I'm going to clear that up. Now the next thing is for me to wipe the screen, and let me get some liquid here. Okay, and then place that right there. Now I need to wipe that surface with that liquid, because that is to make sure any grease or oily stuff is not there, but be careful to spill it anywhere else. So now we get around there and then around the edges like that, all over, because we want this to be perfect at receiving. Okay, right, now that that's done, we need to bring our adhesive and bond the two together. Okay, so let's bring our donor screen and test it, and this is it. So we're going to plug it in to make sure. Go yangui to make sure.
Rain on me.
Okay.
I just
Ingami, I went and I even came back. I even got to the screen. I'm now placing. All right, so let me first plug this in. That will go through in there. And then we hey, okay, just a moment. So let's hit the power button. I like to think there's battery, unless I'm mistaken. Oh, I hadn't plugged in the battery connector. So let's hit the power button and then see if the screen is able to display and also touch. So it has lit up. Why I choose to test it is I need to first make sure it is working before securing it onto the frame. Otherwise, I need to go and get it swapped, assuming it's not functional. That's the luxury I can afford from this side. At least that's fine. And yep, if you are wondering how I got to the point of starting to replace the screen, please do watch the previous video. It demonstrates how you would open to access the interiors of this phone to be able to replace the screen, replace the battery, replace the network, and all that. So now we are testing the touch, and so far so good. Let me just choose the bigger interface and then use that. Now I think I'm free to screw it up. All right, now we remove that and then bring this out, and the next stage is a little straightforward. That's placing adhesive on both surfaces to allow for bonding. But prior to that, I need to clean this lens. It's looking funny right there. I think because of the few screws that had been placed, it left openings for dust particles to go through. Okay, I think that's transparent enough. Now we bring our adhesive, begin from there. Okay, now make sure it's not in excess and also not too little, because we need a perfect bond, and seeing that the bonding area is very thin. Now I need to pick this is not nice, and then come to this other side. Oh, notice that I have left that gap. We need that proximity sensor to be able to fire infrared for the screen to be able to dim if you're making a call, so that you don't accidentally touch the screen. And usually when you cover that, you'll encounter issues where the screen goes black when a call comes through, and when you're done with the call you can't end it because the screen is black. It thinks the phone is still being held against the screen, against the skin, or against the ear. Now that's that. I tend to put on both surfaces because it tends to provide for a better bond, and that's some of the tricks that by experience you figure out. Okay, the reason is when the glue is wet, it's easy for it to adhere to the hard surfaces. Now when I put on both surfaces, then glue has adhered perfectly on each surface. Now when I bring the glue together, for it itself already has good adhesion with itself, even when slightly dry. So now I'm going to give it some 2 minutes to gain some form of strength, and then we come and bring them together. So we're giving it 2 minutes. Okay, so let's bring them together. Right, so I lift this, and then okay, now I need to pick this out and stick this screen down. Okay, that's that, and then we stick that down. Okay, clear the back, then make sure no debris is here. Hey, you're opening my stuff. You'll find my secrets in there. Hey, touching without permission. All right. Let's remove this funny sticker. I don't know why. I think the person had an idea of labeling this phone previously, but we don't want anything in between. That will be a problem in the future. So now we bring the two together, push the fiber right in, and then bring this down to bond the two. Okay, just like that, and then bring this into place. So usually after that we do a thread therapy. So be with us as we put back this phone together, ready for work. I'm not going to go any further beyond my jurisdiction. And is this the right orientation? Hopefully. Okay, I think it is. So we got lucky there. Now since this person has few screws, I'm going to only put them in the crucial areas. That's the edges and places like this, so that it is structurally relatively sound. Okay, that doesn't belong. Let me get this. Put it there. Okay, it fits. And the next is around here. Okay, then I believe this should also be well. All right. Meanwhile, I think this part was supposed to slide right in there. I need something for there. It's kind of hard to see something wrong and not want to correct it. Oh, this screw can serve here. Okay, that's good. Now we bring the lower part. Okay, lower part. Okay, the screw right, lower part. So I think I'll begin with the edges. I wonder whether I have the screws that belong there. Okay. Attempt with this. Nah, doesn't belong. It's short. So can I get him screws that belong? Hopefully. I'll check on my magnets and then come and try providing for that. I think that could work. I think I've run out of screws to donate. Two. Okay, so I applied some solvent to soften the old adhesive because I don't want to clean it off, so I need to make it be able to bond. Anyway, bring them back and then plug in. Earlier on I thought I was recording, but I paused. Alright, that plugs right there, and this comes right here. Now we go for our thread therapy. That's to keep the phone tied together as the glue sets and achieves maximum strength. So I begin in the longitudinal direction. and this is to keep it in place. I think while I'm doing this, let me hit the power button to wake it up. Okay. I was wondering why I don't remember removing the SIM card tray. This particular one doesn't involve me removing the SIM card tray, so it's just been helpful. You're able to unwind, really? Okay, thank you. So come along the length like that, all the way. Time's up. My timer, so I'm doing slower today. Dismiss, and then set some more 10 minutes. Alright, I need to be able to time how long I take doing these things so that it's much easier when estimating time for the client to wait, and also to help inform whether to lower the charges or increase the charges. Okay, I'm kind of happy with myself. It looks like the quality of screen I found was really nice. Seems to have some level of color depth in it. It's just usually common for replacement screens to have paler image quality, but this appears superb. Now, the best replacement screens usually are within 80% of the quality of the original, and the only way you can get the original is if it is coming from other phones. So don't be deceived that you're buying an original screen. It's just that you'll have about many third-party replacement screen makers, and those that are good, and they will only attain about 80 to 90% what the manufacturer has offered. Okay, so this goes right there, and we'll give the thing 24 hours to dry, and then start using. Okay, so let me just confirm that the touch works again. Agency, of course, it's a lot harder pressing through the threads, but yeah, so we're fine. This is done, and power off. So let me just put it in the jacket that the owner chose to buy. We are going to place the screen guard after this has dried. I think we'll do that at the same time. So see you in the next video, and